Hey guys, I'm Jim. I edit photos. Thanks for stopping by. This video is my first look and first impressions of PureRAW by DXO. It just came out the other day. They kind of slipped it out there, and I think a lot of people are like, hey, what's this? What is this all about? Hopefully this video will provide that sort of information. I'm going to talk about who this app is for, why you may want to use it, give you a demonstration of how it works, and also how it will work in conjunction with other RAW editors that you may be using. And that is really one of the key things to know about PureRAW, and that is it has taken the RAW processing engine from Photolab 4. You may know Photolab 4. It's a core DXO product. I've done several videos about it in that playlist, but basically what they've done is I think they've recognized that some people don't want to buy Photolab 4 and get all the other stuff. They just want the RAW engine, which does a great job of processing RAW files, has amazing world-class noise reduction, has these incredible optics modules. They've taken those components, raw processing, denoising, and optics modules, and put them into this separate app, PureRAW, so that if you have other products that you use as your host app, maybe you don't want to use Photolab 4 as your host, maybe you don't need all the other tools and filters and sliders like cropping and color editing and brushes and all that. Maybe you don't need that in Photolab 4. Maybe you just want the raw processing capabilities. That's what PureRAW does. Raw engine, denoising, and optics modules. Let's take a look at it. So that's going to work really well if you use Lightroom and Photoshop, which is really what it's designed for, but also Luminar, On1, maybe AC/DC, things like that. This product is a great way to sort of pre-process your RAW files using this amazing technology in PureRAW, and then still take a RAW file over to those other host apps. Let me show you the app. Here we go. So it's a very simple, straightforward kind of thing here. You're in PureRAW. You can just click here in the upper left, add photos, or you can just drag and drop them or add them here. I'm going to click add photos to process. I've got a few in a little folder ready to edit. I click plus to add photos. I've got these 5 files here. I'm going to go ahead and grab them all. I'm going to click open and it'll bring them in here. And hey, guess what? The first thing that happens is if there is a camera and lens combination that PureRAW has not yet seen, it will prompt you to download the optics modules. Once you download them for that lens and camera combo, you never have to download them again. So some of the camera and lens combos I've already downloaded in my test of the products. This one I have not. So I'm going to go ahead and click download selection. It downloads, it's ready to go. I'm going to click save, and now I've got 5 photos here ready to process. Now you can just choose to process all 5 of these. I'm going to actually unselect all of them, and I'm just going to go ahead and select this one, and I'm going to go ahead and click process photo. Now anytime you choose to process a photo or group of photos, you're going to get this menu here. It currently says process 1 photo because I selected 1. But for raw processing, you basically have 3 different options here for this noise reduction, HQ, prime, or deep prime. My personal opinion is you're never going to change this. You're always going to want deep prime. It's insanely just unreal. As I said, I've got a playlist here for DXO videos, which include a number of tests of deep prime. It's just insane. Format, your output format. Are you going to want a JPEG or DNG? I can't imagine you're going to want anything other than a DNG. If you're using PureRAW, I think you're using it because world's best noise reduction, and you want to save a RAW file to take to your other editor so that you get the most leeway with it, if you will. So I think those 2 things are always going to be the same. And your destination folder, you can pick your own folder. I can put it on my desktop if I want, or you can put it in a DXO folder in the original image folder. That's what I'm going to do. Let me go ahead and hit process, and let's just go ahead and run through a process of this photo. Okay, the processing is done. That was about 25 or 30 seconds. It was a RAW file shot with my Sony a7R III, really large RAW files, but you get an option here to either export or view results. I'm going to view results because I want to show you how capable the noise reduction is here in DXO PureRAW. You can see this before and after. Let me show you this sliding window. That's basically my before, and that's my after. This was shot at over 25,000 ISO, but you can see this before and after. It does a great and frankly, I think, world-class job of maintaining a level of detail and sharpness and yet removing noise. I just think it's honestly pretty insane. So that's a quick demo of that. I wanted to show you that. I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Once again, I'm going to do a single edit. I'm going to process this photo. I'm going to keep all those same choices there, and I'm going to click process. And this one is of a model shot at an event in low light. Okay, once again, I'm going to click View Results, and I'm going to zoom in here. So let me just show you this before and after. If you just look at that, it's so much sharper and crisper and cleaner in terms of noise. So, I mean, you can see the noise in the background there, and she's a little bit less clear, and I think her hair looks a little sharper as well. So again, as I go back and forth here, I just think that just looks incredible. Honestly, just fantastic. I mean, the noise you can see in the sign in the background is cleaned up. She looks perfectly crisp with her hair and her face and all that. It looks super sharp, and the background I think is noise free. Again, just a fantastic job here. And I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next photo. In this case, I wanna use this photo, which was shot, I'm gonna uncheck that one. This photo was shot with an Olympus camera, which is micro four thirds. It's shot in lower light. And what I wanna do is see what these results look like. Let me go ahead and hit process. Okay, once again, view results. And here you can see how the optics module has come into play, fixing some of the distortion that was in the photo. I think I've got a much cleaner and crisper looking RAW file. This was shot in low light at f1.7, and you can see the noise in the sky has been reduced fairly significantly as well. I think that looks great. And again, these are being saved as DNG files, so you can then take them to the app of your choice and further edit. I'm going to go ahead and do one more of these. I'm going to click process photos and photo, I should say, and click process. And once again, this was shot with an Olympus micro four thirds camera at f1.7. So view results. And as you can see here, optics module has come into play. I think the photo and the RAW file now looks crisp and beautiful. And if I zoom in, you can see some of the noise in the sky that has been removed as well. And I just think the file looks beautiful and crisp. Okay, let's say I'm finished with that photo and I'm ready to take that DNG RAW file and go over to a different app. I can click Export to, and you've got a drop-down menu here where you can choose Lightroom, Lightroom Classic, Photoshop, things like that. But you can also select custom software. In this case, I've chosen Luminar AI. Don't let the naming confuse you. It's Luminar AI 2 on my machine because I had a beta version when it was in beta, and then when the new version came out, I renamed it. So don't let that confuse you. It is Luminar AI, but if I click export, it will now take this photo over to Luminar AI, open it there, or I can do additional editing. Okay, here's this image. It's now been dumped into Luminar AI. It does show up in the template tab and will allow you to then go in and either apply a template, or of course, if you prefer, you can click over to edit and go in and choose your filters and further enhance the photo. And then, as is typical with Luminar, when you're finished, you can click export and save it to your desired location. Back here in PureRAW, if I decide I want to export to a different app, I could go in here and let's select custom software. I'm going to open my applications file, and you can see I have probably more photo apps than I need. Let's say I want to send this one over to On1 Photo RAW. I can do that, click open, and click export. So there you go. It is a RAW file. It is opened in the develop pane in On1, and I can go in here and make further edits. I can apply effects or local adjustments as I typically would in any photo in On1 Photo RAW. So again, it'll open it in any of these apps that you use. And if I click on the info up here, you can see it is showing up as a RAW file as it indicates here. And then again, once you're finished here, you can export from On1, save it to whatever location you may be using. By the way, across the top here, you can also choose to select the process photos, which are those four, which you've seen in this video. Or if I want to choose unprocessed, there is a RAW file that I've not yet processed in case you wanted to sort by processed or unprocessed. For example, if you've added a lot of photos to PureRAW prior to sending over to your typical RAW editor. The other thing to be aware of is you can click on this DXO module button in the top left, and you can see the optics modules that are in use here for the different photos. This lets you know which camera and lens combo has been used on any of the photos that are currently in PureRAW. So that's really it, my friends. First impression of PureRAW version 1.0. It's brand new. There is a link down below if you want to check that out. It is an affiliate link. If you purchase off that link, I do get a small referral commission. Your cost is the same. And speaking of cost, this is an $89 product in US American dollars. Regular price is $129. It'll be on sale through May 31st. Feel free to check that out and let me know if you have any questions. I think it's a pretty interesting and unique take on some of the key wonderful technology that DxO has, optics modules, RAW processing, and of course that noise reduction D prime is just unreal. I think it's really cool. They've basically allowed you to adapt that as part of your workflow if you use a different product to manage your core photo operations like Lightroom or Photoshop, On1, Luminar, whatever it may be. I think this is a pretty interesting approach to allow users of those products to still get the best of DxO and not give up their current workflow. Anyway, that's my first impression. Hope it gives you some ideas and maybe some inspiration about how to use this. Thanks for watching, my friends. I'll be back soon with more videos. You guys take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon, and adios.